After I went into practice as a result of Keith Ritson's invitation, he was the gentleman who said, could I come and assist with Mr. O'Connor's practice? He was the secretary of the private practitioners, and he said we should get together and have a talk, because things need to be done in this physiotherapy society that he says I'm struggling with. Now, the private practitioners were very few in number compared with the hospital practitioners. So whenever there was a conference or a local meeting, the hospital people would decide the agenda for the meeting. And so the topics to be discussed, or the discussions to be held, were all hospital-oriented around breathing exercises, or rehabilitation of stroke, or rehabilitation of polio, because there was quite a bit of polio still, residual polio. And very little on the treatment of back pain, shoulder pain, and that sort of thing. And Keith said he'd been trying to get the society to pay more attention to the needs of the private practitioners. Scattered throughout New Zealand, there was quite a number of us, but we didn't have any clout in the society. But eventually Keith put himself up for election, and he was elected as president of the society. Then we started to make some progress, and we had topics put on at our conference, annual conference, that were more suited to private practitioners. But still, the private practitioners in those days felt that not enough was being done to foster private practice, and as opposed to encourage people to go to hospital service. So there was a division in the society from private practice to the hospital service. In the end, the private practitioners, we had a meeting, I think it was in Taupo, and around about late 1950s or early 1960s. Time might be a bit out, but we decided to form a private practitioners association. And Len Ring, a guy called Len Ring, had quite a prominent part to play in that, and eventually we had made the most progress under Michael Lamont. Michael Lamont was a very intelligent manager of the private practitioners' affairs, and we flourished under his leadership, and Michael was responsible for a lot of the benefits that we got. At that time, Keith Ritson, the private practitioners, had a direct access to the Minister of Health. Private practitioners had a representative, it was Keith Ritson, and Keith Ritson was that representative to the Minister of Health on behalf of the New Zealand private practicing physiotherapists. And Keith negotiated for the private practitioners. He negotiated the review of the fee that was paid to private practitioners. In those days, it was 3 shillings and 6pence was paid in physiotherapy benefit. We charged the patient the other 6 and 6pence. So the fee was around about 10 shillings a treatment. And Keith negotiated with the minister, Kai was the minister's name, and Keith had decided that his health wasn't great, and he had a breathing problem, a chest problem, and he's decided that he would give this away, and he said, would I take it on? So I became the private practitioner's representative to Mr. Mackay, to the minister. And we negotiated further increases in the fee that was paid by the government, and we negotiated the conditions for eligibility, and we made considerable progress in improving the lot of the private practitioner, which has subsequently gone down the gurgler. The conditions now in private practice must be very difficult. So those early days I was involved with society affairs in the Wellington branch, but because of continuing difficulties in getting things done in the society, standards of improvement in treatment, recognition of manipulation, and things like that, they were not supported strongly by those outside of the private practitioners. And I became very disillusioned with the politics of physiotherapy and decided that it wasn't for me to get involved, and I no longer participated with any great vigour in the affairs of the society. I felt at a conference, I once tackled the existing president of the society, what's the society policy on the use of ultrasound? What's the society policy on the use of shortwave diathermy? What's the society policy toward developing improved education in the schools? And this president of the society happened to be the principal of the school in Otago, and she was very didn't take kindly to the suggestion that we should be changing anything at the physio school. And I said, the society should have a policy in all these things, but the society is bereft of original thinking, and we should be directing the schools to teach modern concepts and not evidence-based. There was no such term used in those days, but the things that now are being found to work in the clinics. And what is the policies of the society on chiropractic, for instance? Do we have a policy? There's no policy on any of these things. There should be. And I was sort of brushed off as being a troublemaker, which I probably was. So I gave up on the society and thought, well, if I can't bring change about from within, I shall bring it about from without.